almost I didn't know she could sing like that, but I did. All right, we go to the book of Revelation. You know, we teach you through the book of Revelation from the beginning to the end. Sometimes that drags a little bit, but we want to try to make it as pleasant and blessing to you as we can, because there's so many spiritual truths in the Word of God. Regardless, it doesn't matter. You can pick any book in any set of Scriptures and find the same thing and be challenged by the same thing. Just whatever God opens up to you. So we want to go to chapter 2, verse 12. We begin in verse 12. We talked about last week. No, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. We go back to verse 8, because we need to talk about Smyrna, the church at Smyrna, before we go to the church at Pergamos. The church at Smyrna, chapter 2, and verse 8, the Bible says, Father, I need your help now. Help me preach in Jesus' name. And unto the angel of the church at Smyrna write, these things saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto, not until, but unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And he that hath an ear to hear, he that hath an ear to hear what the Spirit saith to the churches, and he that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. We said we'll cover that in the other. The church of Smyrna, the salutation was this. He said, the angel said unto the church of Smyrna, these things saith the first, the last, he who was dead and is alive. Of course, we know that's Christ. He talks about their persecution. He said, I know thy works, tribulation, and poverty. And it was a very poor church financially. It was a church that didn't have a lot of money in it. The folks were poor people. But he said, though you have tribulation and poverty, you are rich. You are rich. He considered them to be rich, even though they were poor. And the church of Laodicea, the last church of the seven that we'll be speaking about, was just the opposite. They had plenty of money, and he told them they were poor. So it just kind of flips around on that. But he said, I know that tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. In a church, there are those that are considered to be in the synagogue of Satan. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he stays busy in the church more than he does in the world. He's got the world. The world's going to hell. If he could let it alone, just leave it alone. He's got the world headed, crowded in the right direction. He's got the world going there. So his work to be done is in the church. So we don't become powerful enough to make any difference in the world. That's his challenge. So he hangs around the church way more than he hangs around the bar. He's got the people in the bars, they're defeated already. He's got them. He hangs around the church out to find those that are willing to work for him and play church at the same time. It happens all the time. All the time. And he'll use you. He'll use me. If I don't stay aware, and I'll often be reminded about and make myself remind myself that, hey, none of us arrived yet. There's none of us got to the point that Satan can't get the advantage over us. Just because I've been saved for 40 years, think a little longer now, about 45 years. I've been saved 45 years. Satan still getting advantage over me. Well, when does it end? When Jesus comes. Not when we go to heaven, when we're raptured out. That's when it ends. That's when the devil gives up on people, where he can't use them. But listen, it's not always, it's not like, okay, somebody goes like writes across their forehead, I'm the synagogue of Satan. And they tattoo that on their forehead so everybody will know. That's not the way. It's undercover. And it's not somebody, possibly, it might not be somebody that's terribly mean or cantankerous or whatever. It may not be somebody like that. It may be somebody sweet as pie. Can be used for the devil. And many times unaware. Because I think, certainly me, I'll raise my hand, I'm first on this. If I figure out Satan's using me, I want to get away from that as quick as I can. I want to quit that as quick as I can. When I become aware that I'm being used as a pawn or a vessel of his work, I want to get myself away from that as quick as I can. Repent and go back to God and ask God to forgive me. Because it can happen to me and you and everybody else in here, whether you think it can or not. You're not that righteous. You're not that high up there. Satan can reach you right where you're at, and he can use you to do terrible damage in the church if you let the devil use you. And you can do it oftentimes with a smile on your face, and do a lot of damage. So let's look at the exhortation of it a little bit when he said, you got some suffering coming. And I'm glad that you know that there are people in the church that say they're Jews and are not. And God, when it comes to Jewish people, if they don't surrender and call on Christ in this time period, in this dispensation, he'll consider them a Jew. He considers them those that have rejected him. But listen to what he says. In the exhortation, he says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. In the church? Yep. This is the place for that. This is where the suffering of the saints goes on there. Go on out there, it goes on in here. Most of the time from one saint to the other is where the suffering is brought about at. It's not, the world's not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to destroy your life or they don't care. It doesn't matter to them. So those oftentimes, Brother Jimmy, you're making this sound very, listen, I just want to make you aware, and I don't want anybody to become so fooled by the devil and taken in by him that we think now that we're in church and we're serving God and we're doing good, that the devil's going to leave us alone. That's not going to happen. He's going to become more prevalent. He's going to become more active in our lives at that time than any other. And listen to it. Well, just watch it. You witness it all the time. When somebody begins to surrender their life to God and they begin to make a difference in the church, when people start saying, oh, listen, she encourages me. He encourages me when I see him praising God or reaching out to people or loving on people or even the unlovable. He starts to do God's work. And when that starts to happen, everybody gets nervous. Everybody gets nervous. Nobody attacked her till then. And now they attack her for doing right. For doing right. The wrong we don't even get pointed out for. But when we begin to surrender ourselves and seem like we enjoy church, and we love the feeling and presence of the Holy Spirit, and all those things, somehow or another, people get mean. That's why you know she's just acting, just putting on. You know he's just putting on. You know he's going to fall. You know I ain't going to last forever. You know I ain't going to last long. Well, brother, battling your opinion of it, you're probably not going to last very long. They're going to have a hard time, especially with you, right? Because you've got an idea about that. But it happens all the time. And he said, I'm glad that he said, said, and I understand that goes on in the church. But look at now, once again, the exhortation, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. This is coming. I believe it's coming before the rapture of the church. Cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation. He said, hold on. You're only going to have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give thee a crown of life. He said, just hang in there. Don't worry about the devil. Listen to me. The devil will do everything he can. And the only reason he hasn't done everything he can is because he can. If he gets to where he can, he will. Will what? Destroy you completely. He'll break you down. He'll destroy you the minute when that he can. Because he's always walking around searching and seeing and testing the water to see if he can. If he can, there you go. He's coming. He's coming. Be aware. Be aware. When you see people that God is really making a difference in their life. That's why, now listen, there's some people that have been Christians a long time. They have kind of gotten used to the devices of the devil. That's those people that come to church faithfully, pay their time, always there, but always are just a little bit standoffish. They don't want to get deep into it. They don't want to invest too much into it. Why? They've done that before. They've been in church 50, 60, 70 years, and they know what it's like. So what they've done is they have resigned to the fact that, hey, I'll just stay on the shelf. I don't want to make no waves. I don't want to make the devil mad where he attacks me. I better not say too much about God or get too excited about what God's doing in my life. But if I do, I'm going to bring the attacks of Satan on me. Yeah, I know. That's where the blessing is. That's where the blessing is. That's where the realization, the manifestation of the anointing of God comes apparent in your life. It becomes, and that one becomes very exciting to serve God. When you see God win victory after victory after victory in your life, that's what makes it worth doing. That's what makes serving God worth serving Him, is when you overcome the attacks of Satan. And so, really, every one of us needs to resign to the fact that that's part of the Christian experience. That's part of the Christian experience. That's part of serving God. That's part of what this is all about. And if it doesn't come, listen, if you're not attacked by Satan on a regular basis, if you're not aware of his trying to infiltrate what you're doing, then you're probably doing nothing. Because you're not worrying him. But if you start worrying him, he's coming. He's coming. I'm telling you. He wants you to settle down and just play church. And don't get too excited about anything. And then become the critic. And become a spectator instead of a participator. And then all you do is you get to sit up in the stands and make a critical assessment to everybody else. And become a great discouragement in their life, because every time they raise their head and want to serve God, you pound them back down. No, don't do that. You're making too much racket. You put on too big of a show. I don't think that's what God wants you to do. Let me fill you in. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Every way you can bring glory and honor to His name, do it. Do it. The world don't like it. The church don't like it. God does. He inhabits the praise of His people. He loves the praise of His people. He loves to see His people get just a little bit out of hand. I ain't talking about swinging off the chandeliers if we had any, but I'm talking about, listen, being a little more excited than just a nod on love, or when the Spirit of God is moving in the room. Take part and participate in that. Become a participator rather than just a spectator. All of us, and I talked to every one of us. He said, you have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give you eternal life. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Well, wait a minute, Brother Dean. If that were to happen, and I got put in jail for my faith, for serving God, for standing up, for doing what's right, my whole world would fall apart. I'd lose my job. I'd lose everything I got. I couldn't do that. You ain't done it 10 days yet. Watch and see. Watch and see. Why we'll never test that 10 days. Right? Why I'm scared? No faith. We believe God don't know we're alive. We believe God will miss it. We believe God will overlook it. We believe it'll happen. And we took the 10 days, and on day 11, God will come. Amen. How do you know? Wait 10 days. When the persecution comes, start counting the days. And watch God deliver you in 10 days. And he said, I'll give you a crown of life if you'll just hang in there. Grit and bear. Go ahead. Don't do anything wrong. Keep on doing right. Keep on doing right. He'll have no reason to abandon you. And he'll have no reason to not fulfill his promise to you. He's coming. How do you know? Wait 10 days. Wait 10 days and see. Watch and wait. But remember, in this 10 days, you're to go through a transformation. You're supposed to be being transformed by this 10 days of faith. If you bathe in faith 10 days, you'll get a lot of it on you. You're going to get a lot of faith on you. You start bathing in faith for 10 days straight. Amen? I'm telling you, you just got to take a dip and see. And stay there 10 days. God will never fail you. Well, how about you think he might? You think he'll keep my job for you? I don't know. May not, but I promise you ain't going to go hungry. You ain't going to go hungry. Listen, when God tells you to get out of something, get out of it. I've been put in places God told me to get out of. Yeah, but it pays good. Don't pay that good. It don't pay good enough to get you out of the will of God. It don't pay good enough to break your relationship with him. Because they ain't no job that pays that. I don't care what it pays to get you out of fellowship with God. Because you just think about it. Here's a person that's in their early 20s. They got a young, beautiful family that God's given to them. The devil comes along, something comes along, and offers them the money. Just come to work with us. We'll give you the money. You'll have so much money, you can take care of your family so good. You may not be there, but you can send enough money home that they'll be living home. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. What do you think the devil does? Got that daddy out of the house. Get daddy out. Especially one that's surrendered to God. Especially one that cares anything about their family, really cares something about their family serving God. What's the number one issue? Get the daddy out. Get daddy out the door. Now, his fight ain't nearly as hard. His fight ain't nearly as hard. Because she's battling just keeping them alive. I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about making the motor run, man. I'm talking about getting them to school on time every day, doing homework with them all night, tending to them, getting them to this practice and that practice. And God knows when you get a little bit of money, you sign them up for everything they can be signed up for. If they can be signed up for it, sign them up. Whether they want to do it or not. Go spend $500 on cheerleader stuff and they don't even want to be a cheerleader. But you convince them that that's the most sought after path to ever receive the reward of life. And if they don't get that, they miss it. What a lie. What a lie that we ourselves deceive our children with. That's not the answer to everything, to be a cheerleader or to be a football player. Not the answer to everything. Not the answer to life. The answer to life is knowing Christ. Amen. Being surrendered to Him. So somebody else can see Him. That's what. Because I'm telling you right now, being the quarterback of the football team is not in the Bible. Being the number one cheerleader is not in the Bible. Being popular ain't in the Bible.
Right.
Being liked ain't even in the Bible. Not by the world. But I'm telling you right now, if the world likes you, you got a problem with God. You got a problem with God if the world likes you. I know this is that kind of preaching that I have to do. I have to do. He said, just hang in there. Here's the promise. He that hath an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. He that overcomes shall not be heard of the second death, and that's to be put into hell. The church, in its Ephesian period, having lost its first love, the Lord is now about to chastise the church. This is the second church. He's about to chastise it so as to cause it to return to Him. Smyrna, as far as roots, meaning the word bitterness. That's what the word Smyrna means. Or myrrh, the ointment associated with death. And we see the meaning of the word, a prophecy of persecution and death, which was to befall the church at Smyrna. They were told not to fear the things that they should be called upon to suffer, but to be faithful unto death. Not until death, but unto death. That's not until the end of the natural life. I'm not talking about that. But you hang in there as a martyr, and you'll receive that crown of life. He said they were told that the author of their suffering would be the devil. He'll be running things. And its duration would be 10 days. 10 days. I am going to venture to say here that whatever your persecution is, God's intent is for it to last no longer than 10 days. Mark the calendar. The day God shows you that this is a persecution, mark the calendar. Be faithful for 10 days. Watch deliverance come. Take it. What are you talking about? Every problem that I consider to be a persecution, a burden that I cannot bear. Are you telling me that at the end of 10 days, He's going to throw a party and I'm going to come out from under everything that's going on in my life? By no means. Not saying that at all. If that's what God wants, it can happen. But what will happen is they will sweep over you a power of God that gives you a resistance that you never had. Will give you a peace that you never had. Will give you a power that you never had. And you can look back at it and go, oh my God, it works. It works. 10 days. I stayed faithful. I said, no, 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 no. You got it. Faithful. Faithful. They made it. What do you do for them, God? Lift that burden. You want us to change everything? No, don't worry about that. Just lift the burden. Make it a privilege in their life rather than a persecution. They'll be looking at that thing and saying, I am blessed. And I'm going, are you out of your mind? Your house is falling apart. Your car don't run. You can't pay the light bill. You're fixing to go to jail. And you're blessed. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it many times. Blessed. I said, you're not blessed, you're crazy. Blessed and crazy ain't the same thing. I know it ain't. But when you look at that thing, and it don't scare you no more. When you look at that thing and say, well, if I lose it, glory to God, I didn't need it anyway. Matter of fact, apparently, I wasn't even supposed to have it. As a matter of fact, God's going to give me something better than this on the other side of it when I turn loose that He didn't even tell me or give me permission to get into. I got into it on my own. I didn't even ask Him. And I can't handle the pressure. And I can't blame God. Why? You didn't even ask God. He didn't give you any permission to do that, to go into that kind of debt, to get under that kind of pressure, to buckle down to the desires of the flesh, to try to live above your means. God never done that. I'm telling you right now, God has never put you in a place financially that you cannot pay your tithes. I'm listening to me right now. If you get in trouble on paying your tithe, you've taken on something that God had no intention of you doing. And you better get out of it. Well, God wants you to pay your bills. You're right. You're right. You're right. But listen to me. There's a world system out there that's built on or created for this particular circumstance. And I'm telling you, that man at the bank over there would hold lots rather you walk into that office and say, sir, I need to talk to you. I have gotten myself in a situation that I cannot get myself out of. It's not that I don't want to pay this. I can't pay this at this level. First off, I'm robbing God, and that's going to cost me more than I want to pay. So I'm here to tell you today, we're going to have to work this thing out. We're going to have to work it out. We're going to have to, and I want to do what's right. I want to do what's right. But God done told me I can't go this way no more. And I'm way more scared of you, Him, than I am of you. God's way more powerful than my banker is, than my creditor is. I have way more fear and reverence for Him than I do the light bill place. Okay? So I have to work things out. Have I ever had to do that? Oh, my Lord. I'm not saying it is possible, but it is possible. I may be dumber than you are. Did you get amen on that? So I'm going to take that back. I'm not apparently as dumb as you are. But, because I'd have jumped on that one. I'd have amen that and just like that. But, I've got my places in places like that. Every one of us have. Overextended ourselves, done things we shouldn't have done. And we knew it before we done it. We said, well, I'm just going to close my eyes, sign the papers, and it'll all be okay. Nah, that don't work. That don't work. But that's what he's talking about. Endure sometimes the hardness of life. And do it faithfully. Trust God. Trust God. See when He delivered you. See when He let you out. Or He'll lighten the burden where you can bear it. But you got to depend on Him. You got to be faithful. And listen to me now. Being faithful to 10 days is not saying, okay, I'm going to not do this, or I'm not going to think about this, or I'm going to get involved in it for 10 days to see what God does. No. Faithful people that's waiting faithfully and patiently upon God are not just taking their hands and watching to see what happens. They get to work for God. They get busy doing God's stuff. They act like what was burdening them down don't even matter. Don't even have any bearing whether I'm going to keep serving God faithfully, whether I'm going to do everything I'm supposed to do for God or not. I'm going to keep on doing for God just what I said I'd do, and just what He told me to do, and I'm going to keep on doing it. I'm going to keep on reading my Bible and praying and witnessing to people and caring about people and watching my relationship with Him. I'm going to stay faithful in every way I can, because if I do, I got a God that can and will deliver me out of this. That's what He's talking about. See, there's a pretty good lesson in there to the church of Smyrna for us. They were told that the author was the devil. His duration is 10 days. He said, but hey, I'm coming. In 10 days. I'm coming. I'll deliver you. I'll set the thing up like I want it to be set up if you'll trust me. So we talked about Ephesus, and that was the backslidden church, the condition of the church at that time. Well, this here is the persecuted church. This is the one that God allowed the persecution to come because it was time for reckoning, time for dealing with their backslidden condition that was apparent in the church at Ephesus. But when the church of Smyrna, now it was chastened because of this. We'll go on. We'll just start talking a little bit. I'm not going to cover the whole church of Pergamum tonight. But I do want to start talking about it just a little bit. So you can kind of, I guess, so it'll tempt you or entice you to read it for yourself. I want you to read it for yourself and become familiar with it before next week. And watch it with it. Watch it with it. See if the message that you received out of it is the same message that God gives me as your pastor in the overall assessment of what it means for the church and for us, for you. Take it and read it for yourself. The church of Pergamum starts in verse 12. It goes to about verse 18 and read it. The church of Pergamum. See what you receive out of it. Listen to what he said. Just read it a little bit. To the angel of the church of Pergamum write, these things saith he which has the sharp sword with two edges. I know thy words. What he's saying. I know thy words, and where thou dwellest. I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan seeketh. I know where the devil's sitting in the church. I know where his seat is. I know where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast them, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of Nicolaitans, which we've already talked about, which things I hate. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and I will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. To him that overcometh I will give to eat of the hidden manna, and I will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth save he that received it. A great message to the church at Pergamum. This is the church that was surrendering to the idea of lasciviousness, moral degrade, moral downfall. Give it up on morality. Give it up and saying nothing matters to God. The child of God can live in any kind of sin he wants to, God don't care. That's a lie. That's not true. We are, even today, God expects us to be a holy people, separated unto Him, to live our lives differently than the world lives their lives out there, because we live and serve a holy God. We trust and serve a holy God. And God expects us to live like Him. And that's what the church of Pergamos is challenged with. And then, even further than that, I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. He said there's a doctrine of Balak, or Balaam, where Balak caused the children of Israel, put the stumbling block in front of the children of Israel, to eat things offered to idols, and to commit fornication. The morality was beginning to fall, and the church was about to go into a moral downslide, a tailspin downward morally. And that's the same condition a church will get in. I don't care what church it is, this church or that church or any other church that lets itself get in the condition that this churches are in. And this is what God is trying to show. He's trying to show the progression of a church. If they don't pay attention, the first one we dealt with, they don't pay attention to their first love, and that's Jesus. He said, you forgot your first love. To stand for it. Thank you. Talk to you about some things tonight that would go a long way in delivering you from the life that you're trying to live now. I know, many of you tonight heard a message that could revolutionize your life, that could change your life if you would surrender. Not to me, I'm a nobody. I'm a nothing. I'm talking about hear the message and make a change. Because of it, God will deliver you.
Page 141 in your moving